Welcome back to the Gray Escape. This week we're installing vinyl flooring in the cab. Let's get started. All right, so cleaning up the area a little bit. We're about to start installing the vinyl, take some measurements. This vinyl floor is easy to cut with a blade. So I do have a box cutter that I'm using just to make sure that the vinyl fits perfectly right up to the edges of the stair. I did have to move the doors a little bit to get the vinyl underneath them, so I have removed the bracket. These brackets are held on with 2 bolts that go through the floor and some nuts that are underneath the bus. A few of the nuts were actually missing. I will have to remedy that at a later date. Well, that was a lot more difficult than I expected. And it did not turn out perfect. It would have been perfect, but this moved away from the wall when I screwed that in. A little bit bummed about that. I may try to widen that hole and fix it. But this is the first step of my new flooring. It's also a little tight over here. I'm gonna have to take a box cutter to that and file a tiny bit off to make it lay flat. But I will have trim around the edges of this and FRP on the front, so it's gonna be white or gray here and then the wood on the floor. I'm super stoked because now my doors are back in and they work. And I don't have to be scared if it's gonna rain anymore. So here I'm just readjusting the vinyl so that it meets the back of the stair. I did have to drill out these holes a little bit bigger in order to move it back, but that wasn't a big deal at all. And now it fits perfect. For the parts of the floor where I can't put the vinyl, I went ahead and used this piece of flooring that I had removed from the bus originally, just cleaning it off here along with a couple of trim pieces. And once those are nice and clean, I'm gonna rinse them off and let them dry in the sun. And now that they're dry, I'm using Meguiar's Black Plastic Restorer to restore the black color and reinstalling the piece that I need in the bus. This is one of the trim pieces I treated. It is a stair and it just snaps right in place. So we're reinstalling that so that we can get in the bus from the driver's side. This is one of the stair transitions that goes on the front of the stair. I'm using some 3M Tread Safe and cutting it to width so that it fits. This will add some traction for entering and exiting the bus since the vinyl is pretty slippery. I did end up having to pull some of this off in order to screw these stair treads down to the bus. So if you're going to do this, I would install the stair first and then add the self-adhesive 3M Tread Safe. As you can see, I did have to disconnect the doors again in order to wedge this stair tread underneath them. That's the first stair done. It took longer than it should have, but it looks pretty good. And now I just have to work on covering all of this. All this wood subfloor is going to get vinyl and obviously the second stair. I decided to cheat a little with the rest of the pieces and use my chop saw, which definitely is overkill, but it does give me cleaner lines and makes it easier for me to make sure that I don't slip while using the blade and gouge the flooring. So I've been putting down vinyl for the floor for probably 3 hours now, and that's as far as I've gotten. However, I had to stop to show you this piece of vinyl because it is a masterpiece and probably took at least one of those 3 hours all by itself. But it fits perfectly, and of course I didn't notice until it was in that I had put it the wrong way. I really should have put the gray sticky side facing inward so I could build on it as I go. I also had to cut this stair tread to fit here. So, you know, it took most of a morning, but at least that is done. And the stairs are looking pretty good. The rest of the flooring went in a lot easier, and so I made quick work of the rest of it using the chop saw for cuts that go all the way through and using my box cutter for any cuts that had to go around the floor pieces, such as this curved cut that needed to go around the doghouse. This piece was being difficult. It didn't want to fit under that back stair tread, but I managed to wedge it in there with the help of a flathead screwdriver. So here is the final view of all of the flooring installed in the cab. I do still have to add the trim pieces to cover up the rest of that yellow. But so far the flooring's looking pretty good. I was able to cut it pretty close around all of the items on the floor. That little line over there is a box that I decided to make in the cavity beneath the window because there is no glove box in the bus. And there is my seat that folds up out of the way. So I think this is looking pretty good. All right, guys, that's all for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on The Gray Escape.